Morning everybody. Big storms last night. Arlene, I think it was. Snow, broken trees, next door neighbour trying to get their van going. As you can see, it squealed into life. And I'm just about to set up Ruby for a work trip. Brrr. So, here's Ruby. I've set up a new electric hookup point for her. Previously I was running a cable under my garage door, which wasn't a problem, but didn't really like it. Now, we've got this arrangement. Our shed's gone. Still to be organised, but got our electrical outlet. At the moment, the full length cable, I'll get a short cable for that. A couple of 12 volt, couple of 240 volt 3-pin outlets as well, waterproof, and a temporary light. That replaced by something a little higher. But yeah, we've been having power cuts and bad weather over the last couple of days, and snow. And I'm just about to go into Ruby, and what I'm hoping is that she hasn't been affected by the power cuts, because we keep the central heating on her on low just to keep everything dry and nice. But also A Class Rapidos dump their water if the interior drops too low in temperature. They are actually meant to just dump the water from the hot system, but yeah, the piping means that they, over a very long period of time, if left alone, they'll drain out most of your water. So, yeah, I'm hoping. I left about 50% in there, but she's not been affected. You can see some snow just starting trying to happen again. So, let's go inside. Central lock in. I'm just gonna go into my gas lockers. Oops. I normally keep these turned off because you should be reusing the mains for the central heating. But to give it a boost, I shall put it on full bore for a little while. And gas does that far better. Well, I have to get in here. Always lock these in the open position, because if it drops down, you're going to struggle to get out. And it does not feel chilly in here. It feels nicely ambient, so that's a good sign. Let's have a little look. So we still have our 50% water. It's about 3 or 4 degrees outside, and the interior is at 10. So cool, but not a problem. So I think what we'll do is turn up the temperature all the way. So what this controller at the bottom does, I don't think these are well labelled at all, because they use the same symbol for 2 different things, top and bottom, but hey ho. The bottom one essentially chooses your power source, and 2 wiggly lines is full bore electric mains. 1 wiggly line, the next notch down, gives you a reduced wattage supply to your heater boiler. The next one down is gas only. The next one down is gas and reduced wattage of electricity, and the bottom is all the gas, all the electric that's required. So a full Monty, as we would say. The top selects what you want to happen. So at the top, the two wiggly lines mean water. Water temperature 60 degrees. Next one down, water temperature 40 degrees. And off in the middle, then you go down to heat only, the flame meaning heat. Then you go down and you've got heat and 60 degree water. So I don't think that's a brilliant labelling system, but it does the job, I suppose, once you know. This is essentially the thermostat, telling the water how hot to get and the heater how hot to get. Sorry, telling the heater how hot to get. And if I turn it down, you should hear it click. Well, I heard it go off. On. So, yeah, that's how the Truma controls work. So I'm reaching down below the cupboard and the outlet here is blowing warm air out. It's not a volcano, that's for sure. But when you're on mains only, rather than mains and gas, the heater system's, yeah, adequate. It keeps the van from chilling. Over here's our controls for our fridge freezer, and we keep it on auto, which means that the van is always finding the best option to keep the fridge and freezer running. And the sort of sequence of events is, if the vehicle is running, it will go to battery by default. That's its favourite, and it will turn off anything else. If the vehicle's not running, then it will search first for a mains supply. If it can't find a mains supply, it will start the igniter clicking and try to light the gas. If it can't find gas because you've left the gas off, then it will stop clicking for a little while, and it goes through its little loop again, just search, and it'll click, 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 click every couple of minutes until it finds a way of lighting, if it's in auto. So just remember, if it is in auto and you're not on a mains hookup and you leave it with the gas bottles turned off, you will run your batteries down, because the auto will try to keep firing the fridge. So that's the only negative of auto. Otherwise, you can select only use the battery, but it won't use the battery because the engine's not running. Only use the mains, or you can tell it to run off gas. So if I do that, the yellow flashing light means it's trying to ignite. Okay, so now I'm going to turn the Truma to the bottom, which is electrical at the highest wattage and gas. Next, I'll fetch in my chariot of choice, my Turnverge. This is a really nice high-end 20-inch wheeled, hydroformed, 20 geared folding bicycle, which I adore. Beautiful thing. And as well as being a relatively light, stiff, great bicycle, it's a great folder. It's not in Brompton category, which by virtue of its tiny wheels 16s, I believe. Can do a lot more. The Turn is a brilliant bike that folds, so subtly different, you might say. And this you do by seat all the way to the bottom, close that, open these beautiful clamps like so, and then you just double it over like that and fold the handlebars down to the side. It doesn't have the same form factor as a Brompton. You can revolve the handlebars if you want to get a little bit more clearance, but I really don't feel the need. But you do end up with something that's a fabulous bicycle that folds, but you're not going to object to riding anywhere or for any distance. My boot or garage of my van is a little cluttered at the moment because I haven't really tidied it out since we had the A-frame arrangement sorted out on our bath, and that included the guys getting out some electricals which are behind where the spare wheel is, so I dropped the spare wheel on the floor. Normally that goes all the way through, spare wheels up on the side. Also I've got 2 deck chairs in here, which is obviously quite unnecessary at the moment because just work for me, but when she's ready for use. I've got this piece of carpet in the boot. There's like a rubber mat underneath. It's useful because sometimes you have to crawl in to fetch things that have disappeared so they don't hurt your knees. And what I'd recommend is make it long enough so you can leave a flap, because when you drag something heavy over the edge you won't damage the seals or your bodywork. Pop that in there. And for the purposes of my trip, I don't even need much in the way of lashing. There we go. Now I'm going to let the bit of water that I've still got the tanks out, and on this vehicle, if I switch the camera around, you need to go into the wine cellar, which is beneath the pantry cupboard, the slide out cupboard under the sink. Lift that up, and you've got 2 taps. That one, the red one, is an automated switch that dumps the water from your boiler or heated water. If it gets too cold, this will drop like that, which I've obviously forced it to do, and that lets the water out of the boiler. And this, if you can reach with the camera in my hand, this you lift, oops, like so, and that lets the water out the tank. Comes out incredibly slowly unless you turn the pump on. Then the system will try to pull the water from the tank through that valve, and it goes down to the floor. So we just go up to our control panel. See, we've still got 30% water in. Turn on the pump, and that will now push the water out underneath the van. There's no easy way to collect it. They're short pipes underneath where the sink area is under the van, but that'll empty out. Another option is obviously to turn the taps on and pump them into the sinks and then let it out through the grey waste water tank and or system, but this is actually quicker. Just putting some water in, probably put about 30% in, just to make sure I've got some water with me. In terms of winterizing vans, etc., if you've got underslung water tanks, then you may have some issues. This van is one with indoor tanks, so they're underneath one of the seats, so unless your interior is freezing up, you're all good. Just interrupt the flow. We're in a tablet, and then get the flow going again. That should go. I use these things not because they're sponsored or recommended, just what I've used. Well, we'll leave this particular video here, but on the next video instalment about Ruby, I'll share how you hook up the A-frame on our newly converted car and the whole towing experience with the car behind you. If you're enjoying our channel, then don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications of new videos. And please give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you can share the videos. And below the video is always the area where you can comment and get involved with the chat.